We may be seeing signs like this more often this summer as shark season gets underway in San Diego.
You gain all your senses, especially the taste buds. Man, everything tastes better.
The heavy fallout from smoking and the connection to another health epidemic.
I remember being told that I didn't belong in my sport because of who I am, because of my religion or because of my race. And I'm here to tell people that, it doesn't matter what people think about who you are.
No need to slow down on the playing field. The design innovation helping athletes thrive. KPBS Evening Edition starts right now. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Ebony Monet. Just as he said he would, San Diego Mayor Kevin Faulconer has used his veto power to restore $5 million in funding for a special election in November. This is funding the City Council had removed from the budget earlier this week. The proposed election would deal with a hotel tax increase and a measure to allow the Soccer City development in Mission Valley. In a written statement, Faulconer said several City Council members are being squeezed by their political backers to kill these ballot measures. The council has 5 days to respond to the mayor's veto. The special election and the hotel tax were already on the docket for Monday. The tax would pay for expanding the convention center and homeless services. KPBS reporter Eric Anderson says the results of Monday's vote could also have implications for Soccer City.
Soccer City backers want to repurpose the 166-acre Qualcomm Stadium site and the Murphy Canyon land where Chargers Park now sits. FS Investors is looking to demolish the stadium, tear up the parking lot, and rebuild the area. Plans include 4,800 homes, commercial space, a river park, and a 23,000-seat sports stadium. Chargers Park would become a soccer academy. Supporter April Bowling makes the case for the project in a television ad that's been running for several weeks.
I've always been skeptical of stadium deals, but Soccer City is different. It's 100% privately funded with no taxpayer dollars.
That stadium is a key component for the developer's bid to land a Major League Soccer franchise. The Professional Soccer League is expanding by 4 teams soon, and close to a dozen cities are competing to land a team. MLS will decide by the end of the year, and they say they won't award a franchise until there's a local commitment to build a stadium. FS Investors say if there's no team, there's no Soccer City development. The deadline has been a constant talking point for spokesman Nick Stone.
The council can choose to push it to a vote. If they push that to a vote in 2018, as we just talked about, this plan is effectively dead.
That is what is required for this project not to die. If the council chooses to put us on the ballot in 2018, they're voting to kill it. And the only vote that matters is a vote in November of 2017.
The Soccer City project isn't on the City Council docket until June 19th. That's when city officials will publicly debate the project's merits. San Diego City Council member David Alvarez says he supports putting Soccer City on the ballot, but not until November 2018.
This decision is a pretty big one. We don't have land like this available to develop in San Diego and in the core inner part of the city. This is a pretty big decision. I think we should have the best deal possible.
Alvarez wants San Diego State University to be part of the project. The school pulled out of 2 years of talks with FS Investors, saying their needs weren't being met in those negotiations. Meanwhile, Alvarez says the city's voter-approved Measure L calls for referendums and initiatives to be placed on November ballots when turnout is high.
Do we want a few San Diegans to make the decision, or do we want the majority of San Diegans to make the decision? That's what this ultimately comes down to.
Councilman Chris Cate opposed Measure L, but he says voters approved the charter change by a wide margin, and he says it's his responsibility to abide by that decision. Cate says Measure L also permits initiatives to be added to special November elections.
People should have an opportunity to hear this on its merits, each item on its merits, and if we don't have a special election called for, I think that will not allow us to actually have that full vetting that each item does deserve.
Cate is looking forward to that discussion because he's already gotten a taste of the debate from his constituents. He expects a spirited dialogue.
There are a number of folks on all sides of this issue, some who do not support it because they feel that the project would be too dense for that area. Some love it because of the density of it and what it brings and the vitality of that area that would come from the proposal. Some like it because of the sport. Some don't like it because of the sport.
The Soccer City plan doesn't die if the measure for a special election fails on Monday. The council can decide to revisit that issue any time over the summer. The project itself also escapes an up or down vote on June 19th. That's because the signatures gathered by supporters only give the council two choices: approve the project outright or put it on the November 2018 ballot. The council would have to approve a separate item to add it to a special election this November. Eric Anderson, KPBS News.
New numbers out today show San Diego's real estate market hit a new record last month. The median price of a single-family home passed the $600,000 mark for the first time ever. The San Diego Association of Realtors says that's up 8% from a year ago. The sales price for attached homes like condos and townhouses also hit a record at $394,000. The Realtors Group say while prices are up, the inventory of available homes is down. They're not as worried about a housing bubble because lending standards are stronger than they were before the Great Recession. It's shark season in San Diego, which may help explain recent sightings. Thursday, near Silver Strand State Beach, two surfers spotted an 8-foot-long great white shark swimming approximately 30 feet offshore. Lifeguards posted advisory notices 1 mile in each direction of where the shark had been seen. It's the latest in a string of shark sightings up and down the California coast. KPBS reporter Susan Murphy talked to a shark expert about the growing population.
San Diego waters provided nursery grounds for great white newborns and juveniles, and mom and dad tend to stay away, but not always.
Occasionally, we do have larger adults that pass through.
Marine biologist Andrew Nosel studies shark behavior with Scripps Institution of Oceanography. He says San Diego has entered the season for sharks.
This is the time of year that they typically show up, usually late spring, early summer, and we should expect them to be around through late fall, even into early winter.
The 5 to 10 foot long juveniles migrate from Baja as San Diego's waters warm up. The shallow ecosystem offers an abundance of food such as fish and stingrays.
Once they start maturing at around 10 feet, we tend to see them hanging out in colder water, and they tend to start feeding on marine mammals like seals and sea lions.
Nosel says the increased sightings of the dorsal-finned predators can be attributed to more people in the water equipped with GoPros. But there's also a growing shark population. An estimated 2,400 great whites are thriving along the California coast.
In California, white sharks have been protected from commercial and sport fishing since 1994, so over 20 years they've been protected. And their food source, at least as adults, marine mammals, they've been protected federally since the 1970s. So the two of these things combined have led to a very strong recovery in our white shark populations.
Nosel says the top predator, along with other shark species such as makos, leopards, and threshers, help to maintain San Diego's balanced and healthy ecosystem.
We shouldn't be necessarily afraid that there's all these sharks in the water. We should be excited because it means that we're doing something right. We're protecting them. We're protecting their habitat.
He advises beachgoers to stay safe by swimming with a friend and avoiding areas where you see large schools of fish. Susan Murphy, KPBS News.
UC San Diego is joining a new effort in cross-border cooperation. It's partnering with 13 universities and high schools in Baja California to boost competitiveness in cross-border industries like aerospace and biomedical devices. The institutions will be collaborating on research and education, designing curriculum so U.S. and Mexico students can get credit for taking classes on either side of the border. The venture is officially called the Cali Baja Education Consortium.
We don't see a border, we don't see a wall. We just want to collaborate on both sides of the border, and we want students to think of this region as a binational region.
According to the mayors of both cities, the San Diego-Tijuana region is the world's largest manufacturing hub for medical devices because of integrated cross-border supply chains. Smoking is still considered the leading cause of preventable deaths in the U.S. But while smoking rates have fallen dramatically, obesity rates have risen. KPBS reporter Tom Fudge looks at what the fight to stop obesity can learn from the battle to stop smoking.
People who struggle with obesity and cigarette addiction are all around us, of course, in neighborhoods like this one. I came here to visit a man who kicked one habit, then found himself developing the other.
I got addicted. I got hooked on them, and that was in 1968.
Ronald Ward, who's 68 years old, became a 2 to 3 pack a day smoker after starting in the Army. He smoked for 40 years, and he didn't get serious about quitting until his doctor found he had a respiratory problem called COPD.
And my doctor said, "Ward, you smoke?" "Yeah, I do. I enjoy it." "Well, you're going to have to unenjoy it. You need to quit, or else you will, eventually, it will harm you, and you could die." And he got my attention.
Ward managed to quit, but in the process, he also managed to add 30 pounds to his 5'6" frame.
I started eating more. So when you quit smoking, your taste buds, your senses, you gain all your senses, especially the taste buds. Man, everything tastes better.
It's a common story, and it's a symbol of the way America's smoking problem has been replaced by an obesity problem. In 1955, nearly 57% of men smoked, about twice as high as for women, according to the Centers for Disease Control. That figure has fallen to about 16% of men in 2015, when it was 13% for women. At 11%, California now has the second lowest adult smoking rate in the country. Only Utah is lower. Meanwhile, 36% of Americans are now obese, up from just 13% in 1962. And that doesn't include people who are merely overweight. Dr. Ken Fujioka is director of the Center for Weight Management for San Diego's Scripps Clinic, and he's seen a lot of patients gain weight after they stop smoking.
And when you stop smoking cigarettes, two things happen. One is most people eat about 225 calories more per day. But the other thing they'll do is they actually burn less calories when they come off of cigarettes. So they burn about 15% less, which is very significant.
The tendency to lose weight has long been a part of cigarette marketing. Remember those Virginia Slims ads?
Virginia Slims, you've come a long way, baby.
Smoking, with its links to cancer, heart disease, and emphysema, is still seen as a bigger health problem than obesity. Fujioka says he agrees, though he includes a caveat.
If I had 20 people that smoke cigarettes and 20 people that are overweight, then I would say, no, we need to worry about the people who smoke. I would really concentrate on getting those 20 people. But the problem is that we have so many more people, as you said. It's hard to find people who smoke now in San Diego. But if you look at how many people are overweight in San Diego, we're just the same as the rest of the U.S. We have a lot.
So for the fight against obesity, what can we learn from the fight against smoking?
And it is probably the biggest success story of public health.
John Pierce, retired from UC San Diego, is an epidemiologist, and he's talking about the decades-long effort to reduce smoking rates. He says he's seen plenty of ways in which the obesity problem parallels the now declining smoking problem.
The decline has not been so much on smoking cessation. It's very difficult for people to quit. It's been a major decline in who starts taking it up. Now, what we're seeing in obesity is the same thing. It is kids getting to 18 already obese.
Like in the battle with big tobacco, Pierce says the next step in the fight against the obesity epidemic should be to take on the food industry.
There's a playbook on how to do it now. But we need political will. And we need to empower our public health groups to actually run a program to prevent, to focus on healthier behaviors across the board.
Ken Fujioka adds that when it comes to obesity, society has identified some culprits.
So we can go after those, and it's actually working. So as you know, several years ago, we got sodas out of schools. Guess what? Kids don't gain weight when they're in school. You know when they gain weight? In the summertime.
Former smoker Ronald Ward says although he's had to struggle with weight, he is very happy to no longer be what he calls
compulsive heavy smoker. But the reason I said it changed my life, I'm I feel healthier. I can breathe. Everything tastes better, even water. When I smoke, it's funny how you don't realize the simple things of life that you miss.
Tom Fudge, KPBS News.
It's been a big week in San Diego politics. We'll sort out the budget vote, the prospects for a special election, the unexpected appraisal of the Qualcomm Stadium site, and we'll look at what all of it means for the mayor, city council, and organized labor. Join us for the KPBS Roundtable tonight at 8:30.
Film Out San Diego kicks off tonight, and organizers are busy setting up at the Observatory North Park. The China Beach Surf Club was a good place where U.S. troops found a way to continue their love of surfing during the depths of the Vietnam War. KPBS military reporter Steve Walsh brings us a highlight of an exhibit honoring the club opening this weekend in Oceanside.
It took 2 years to collect the artifacts and compile the narratives for this very California story of the Vietnam War.
Had you made surfboards before you?
I did repairing the surfboards.
Repairing?
Yeah.
But you'd never made one from scratch
Not from
before.
scratch, yeah.
Bruce Blandy was in the Navy in 1969, stationed near the border with North Vietnam. He fashioned his own boards from supplies used to repair rivercraft.
A lot of Vietnam, especially for Vietnam veterans, we feel a little bit, especially when we first came back from the war, we felt underappreciated. So this is part of the history of Vietnam.
Many of them didn't realize that there were others surfing along the coast of Vietnam, or knew that there was surfing at China Beach, the place where they sent wounded soldiers to recover, and some soldiers for R&R.
So they built the lifeguard headquarters, stocked it with boards, kept somebody on duty.
Rick Matthews was drafted in 1969. He grew up on the California coast. He surfed in Vietnam only once.
It was getting back in the water again that helped bridge that gap between that surreal experience that was war and the life you had left behind and the life you wanted to leave. It was a way to bridge that. It was a therapy.
The exhibit is part of the official celebration of the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War. Vietnam veterans who attend will receive a pin from the Department of Defense. Steve Walsh, KPBS News.
Colin Powell has one of those.
Coming up on PBS NewsHour, President Trump fires back at the former FBI director.
No collusion, no obstruction. He's a leaker. We were very, very happy. And frankly, James Comey confirmed a lot of what I said. And some of the things that he said just weren't true.
And a look at filmmakers with disabilities. That's tonight on PBS NewsHour, starting at 7, right here on KPBS. A foggy Friday night for San Diego, followed by a misty morning. Stephanie Omo has tonight's forecast.
A trough of low pressure will bring a little bit more in the way of clouds and also cooler conditions as we head into the weekend. Right now, as we check out a zoom-in look at what's going on around San Diego, much of the surrounding areas, satellite and radar really not picking up much of anything, really not looking at precipitation. As we check out the wider view, we're looking at a few showers up into northern and central California. That's well away from us. We're keeping things quiet as we wrap up the day today, but we will be dealing with the clouds, increasing cloud cover for tonight in the metro area, and temperatures dropping into the lower 60s. As we check out conditions across the county here around Mount Laguna, we're looking at clear to partly cloudy skies up into Borrego Springs, where temperatures will be dropping back into the upper 60s. In Oceanside, 60 degrees. And as we head down to Chula Vista, temperatures there will be at 62 as we wrap up the day today. For the first part of the weekend, so this is what I'm looking at. This is a snapshot I'm describing here. A cool down in store for much of the West Coast. coast, but it's a different story for the folks further inland, especially across the central states where the heat is on. Temperatures will surpass average levels. As we check out conditions here in San Diego County for tomorrow, we'll be dealing with more in the way of clouds with that trough remaining nearby. Ramona at 72 and Alpine 69 degrees. Will be cool at 67 in San Diego, and Chula Vista will be at 66. Your snapshot for early next week. Well, we do have a little ridge setting up here in the Golden State. It's going to remain dry and temperatures should be warming up. We're going to get under that warming trend. Your 5-day outlook right along the coast. A little bit misty as we head into your Sunday. Temperatures will be in the 60s, but then notice a warm up as we head into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And many folks will enjoy that sunshine. Further inland as well, a little bit misty for Sunday morning, but then after that we will experience plenty of sun and also a big warm up in temperatures, especially on Tuesday and Wednesday. In the mountains, we're dealing with the winds for the weekend, and sunny skies Saturday. Sunday will be dropping to the 50s and then finally warming up into the 70s Tuesday and Wednesday. Last but not least, into the desert. We'll be in the 90s for tomorrow, back into the 80s with plenty of sunshine on Sunday. I'm Stephanie Omo, KPBS News.
Film Out San Diego kicks off tonight, and organizers are busy setting up at the Observatory North Park. KPBS arts reporter Beth Accomando is there talking to some people involved. Hey there, Beth.
Hey, the red carpet has been rolled out here at Observatory North Park, and this is a beautiful kind of old movie palace for the festival to be at. The festival is going to be running through this weekend, through Sunday, and I am here with some of the event organizers. We have Caleb Nicola, who is the executive director, and Michael McQuiggan, who is the programmer. So I understand tonight is sold out.
It is. We sold out. We are very happy about that. It's great, amazing. I mean, we did last year as well, and we're very excited to have done it this year again. We are going to have a standby line once ticketed patrons are seated. If there's any other seats left, we will be able to sell those out. Tonight's film is a great follow-up to the cult classic 2000 film, Sordid Lives, with Olivia Newton-John and Leslie Jordan. This kind of continues on the story. It's a sequel to that, as well as the Logo series that was on TV for a while there. So it's going to be a really fun night. We're going to have a great after party with a lot of food vendors, 12 different San Diego food vendors, as well as drinks available across the street after the film tonight. And a lot of the cast is here as well in attendance. We're going to be doing a Q&A after the film. So it's a great time to meet and greet all the talent that put together the film with us.
Now, this is sold out, but there are plenty of seats for the rest of the weekend.
There are. We have plenty of tickets for the rest of the films. You can go to filmoutsandiego.com. Films will be available all weekend long online. They'll be available until 9 a.m. on the day of the films, or you can buy them here at the box office starting tomorrow. The first film tomorrow is at 11 a.m., so the box office will be open about 10.
And Michael, you are a big horror fan, and this year you have something programmed that's special to you.
I'm really excited because this year we decided to showcase a horror track series. So, you know, in the past we've received maybe 1 or 2 horror genre films, and this year we received 5 that were quality, and I didn't want to pass them over. I really didn't want to include them in the best of the short series, even though we could. So we decided to dedicate a track just to horror genre fans. So it's going to be interesting. This is the first time that we've ever done it. I mean, we've screened a few horror films and some genre films, but this is the first time that we're doing a short track series. So that's going to screen Saturday night at 10 o'clock. So we're hoping people will give it a chance, show up, see a little horror, see a little gore, and bring a different type of programming to San Diego that normally isn't screened, especially for LGBTQ cinema.
And we have one of the filmmakers from the local block, Benjamin Howard. Your film is Sleep on It, and it'll be showing on Sunday. What's it about?
Sleep on It's kind of a story, a short little cute tale about a couple who are mattress shopping for their first apartment, and an argument kind of breaks out in the middle, kind of puts things into perspective for the two.
And is it important to screen at a festival like this?
I mean, any exposure for LGBT stories is awesome. I mean, so getting it into any festival is fantastic, but to have it play at an LGBT-specific festival is kind of like the icing on the cake, so I'm stoked.
Great. The festival runs through Sunday at the Observatory North Park, and reporting live at the Observatory is Beth Accomando. Thank you.
Thanks, Beth. Sports have been known to unify, and to be sure everyone feels included, a high school tennis team in Maine is providing sports hijabs to student athletes. Associated Press reporter Noreen Nasir explains the student-led effort may be the first of its kind.
High school lacrosse player Fadumo Aden is lean and fast.
But her hijab sometimes made it difficult for her to hit her stride. She'd occasionally have to stop to adjust her headscarf.
Usually I would wear this and I would tie it in a turban, and I would have to put my goggles on top of it, and then it would fall off.
Tennis player Tabarak Kadim, who moved to Maine from Jordan 4 years ago, was having a similar struggle.
I did not feel that comfortable, and it was embarrassing. What if my hijab fall off for a second? What should I do? Should I stop?
So tennis team co-captains Anais Manikunda and Leva Pierce decided to take action. They launched an online GoFundMe campaign to raise money for hijabs specifically designed for athletes.
Our teammates helped by sharing it on Facebook and telling their friends about it.
Their efforts brought in nearly $1,000, enough to provide hijabs not just for the tennis players, but the other sports teams at Deering High School in Portland as well. They found a Minnesota company that began manufacturing the lightweight scarves last year.
It takes courage for them to stand out here and honor who they are and represent their diversity. So this is something that definitely makes it a little more comfortable, and it allows them to be the best athlete they can be.
The school's athletic director says she believes it'll encourage more Muslim girls to play sports. Sport hijabs have gotten more attention as of late. Seizing on a new market, Nike announced it will make its own version available next year. And U.S. Olympic fencer Ibtihaj Muhammad rose to fame donning a hijab during last year's Summer Olympics.
I remember being told that I didn't belong in my sport because of who I am, because of my religion or because of my race. And I'm here to tell people that, it doesn't matter what people think about who you are.
FIFA and FIBA, the international federations for soccer and basketball, both recently lifted bans on the hijab.
Nice one. Back in Portland. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.